Fly special.
Now, the entire process
New
is expected to be completed
Great British Railways
Transport correspondent Sean Diddy
on South West Railways line, London Waterloo, UK 2025 video.
This was the future once. There'll be new paintwork.
Hands up right side screen.
It's 29 years since South Western was
25th of May.
privatised.
This
Today,
morning.
it's back in public ownership. This is
Sunday
the
morning,
first train in the country
25.
to wear
Can't see
the
bottom down
new
there on the
Great
right.
British Railways logo.
It's really exciting to actually see it for the first
No, it's
time.
not South West Railways
In the next
Limited.
few years, ministers want almost all trains to look something like this.
That was the last
This is, I
company.
think, a real watershed moment in terms of our work to return the railways to the service of passengers. We've got to be honest, most people don't spend much time thinking about who owns what bits of the railway, but they do really want trains that work.
Well, we want to get from A to B, don't we? I do anyway.
Going to come down for frustrated passengers.
I can't promise you that, Sean. I would love to be able to do
I doubt they'll ever
that.
go
The truth
down.
of the matter is on an annual basis.
Books keep going up every year.
Of the trains, the taxpayer subsidises them to the tune of
Just
£2
keep
billion
going up.
a year. What I can assure your viewers of, though, is that I will strain every sinew to make sure that they get good value for money.
Great British Railways won't officially exist
Well, I
until
hope so.
MPs vote to create it later this year, and it won't be up and running for a while after that. Until then, the Department for Transport are in charge here.
I'm Heidi, hello.
South Western joins 4 other companies taken into public ownership by the previous Conservative government. One by one, the remaining companies will return to public ownership between now and 2027. Speak to most passengers and they'll tell you the cost of travelling by train in the UK
It's too expensive.
is huge.
It's too much
one of the most
money.
expensive in Europe, but many are pretty
Well,
grumpy
not
too.
people are travelling by car more.
Service delivery over many years. Ministers say under nationalisation, performance and services will get better, but so far they haven't promised to bring that cost down.
Well, that's the main issue
Has
at
not
Bournemouth.
gone down well here in Bournemouth.
We've come down in the car because the train tickets are far too expensive. The 4 of us, and for to get down here would have been something around 400, maybe £500.
Rip off.
Try not to.
Why?
Just the cost of them.
If they reduce the cost, I think I will travel more often, and I think I will travel at different times as well.
Ministers say nationalisation will save money, but that will be invested in improving services. Today, though, South Western's first publicly operated service from Woking is partly replaced by a rail replacement bus service. The same
Embarrassing.
thing happened when it left public ownership in 1996.
All
The
right.
first privatised Great Western train was in reality a bus from Fishguard.
Thank you to
It's been on 29 years, and the
Right.
government
The
says
wiring,
today
the wiring
it's the
costs
first
us
step in
a lot of
delivering
money in
what
the
it
UK.
promises to be a world-class train service.
Let's talk to our transport correspondent Sean Diddy, who's at Waterloo Station. And Sean, morning to you.
So special
You've been
needs.
on that first train that left the station
Like me, he
this
is.
morning
He's
under
great,
that new
centre.
logo, that new branding.
They're all
did people
great
really notice anything
people.
different on the train itself?
Well, I mean, the only difference on the train this morning, I mean, it was a train, it was like the South Western service I used just the other day, other than there were an awful lot of excited people there. The Transport Secretary, Heidi Alexander, was on there. We had one gentleman clapping. I said, "Are you clapping for nationalisation, sir?" He said, "Yes, I am." So there was a sentiment from that first service out of Waterloo here.
Lovely.
We're really rather excited just to be part of the scene, but that's very different to what people will notice day in and day out, which will feel, at least for some time, rather how it's felt for quite a long time.
And Sean, what's the ultimate plan here? Because a lot of people will remember the railways being in public hands and saying, actually, that wasn't great either. You know, services weren't particularly much better then. So what are the government promising will change? I notice in your pieces the prices won't come down, but they say...
Oh, that's a scandal, that is. What a surprise.
Well, I mean, I think accurately we're not saying prices won't come down. We're saying that the government, and we've asked many times, will prices come down? And they're not promising that they will. And that's because running the railway is an expensive business. It only has 2 pots. It's ticket sales and it's taxpayer. And one thing I think Transport Secretary Heidi Alexander knows is that Great British Railways won't be set up till around 2027 with all of the companies coming, all of the main companies. There are exceptions such as what's called open access operators like Hull Trains that do sort of additional routes, but all of the main...
By then, I'd be more expensive train tickets will.
control of Great British Railways. The long-term plan, they say, is to make services better. To give you a bit of an idea, I mean, the folding in of Network Rail into Great British Railways could save anything up to £4 billion, and that's an awful lot of money to save. But rather than that going back into our pockets so that we pay cheaper tickets to wherever we're travelling, the level and the scale of investments is so vast, say the government, that money will go into improving services. Now, will that be enough to make passengers happy? Maybe. On the train I got on this morning, yes. On the beach in Bournemouth, not really.
Put a thumbs up
Let's see how
outside
this
screen.
plays out. So, Sean, for now,
Subscribe
thank you.
channel
Good to have
and
you there,
sign
Sean
Jones.
Lilly there at Transport.